Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Media Reacts with J-Rod, and I'm your host, J-Rod. So tonight I believe we have a good treat for you, and I'm excited for this. I've never watched this video, so this is going to be a real reaction, even though all of my videos are real reactions, but this is going to be a first. I've never seen this, I've never watched it, this is going to be the first time I see this, and this is going to be about ex-mob captain Michael Franzese, who was a made member of the Colombo family in New York City back in the 70s until he left the life. And this has a lot of meaning to me. I love watching Michael Franzese because I prayed for things like this. I prayed for men like him to come to faith in Jesus Christ. And so to see this happen is absolutely incredible. And he has been a minister for a number of years now. But he is doing an interview here. This was some time ago, but I wanted to react to it, and I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Put in the comment section what videos you would like me to react to, and click the notification bell so that you never miss a video that I come up with. And without further ado, let's get started.
Involved in 35 murders, as the FBI suggest. Do you think he was better off behind bars?
Yeah, I know there's going to be a tough one, but let me tell you how I think.
You've never talked about having to kill someone, have you?
No.
Why is that?
Listen.
Guys, I want you to understand that this is a really big deal, what Michael Franzese is doing. You never see former made guys coming out and speaking this way. And most of the time when they do, they are blocked, blurred, or something because they have to protect themselves. But what Michael Franzese is doing is revolutionary, and he has a few businesses that are legitimate and they're thriving, and I love the stories behind them. And so at some point, whether it's in this video or in a video in the future, I'll touch on those other things that Michael Franzese is up to, and I just look forward to this.
Morning, everyone. Michael Franzese here. Well, today is my birthday, and I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Most of you that follow me probably know that already. But I'm in a new studio. I'm not going to show it all to you yet. We're going to be introducing it soon. We built it over the past couple of weeks. Very excited about it because we have...
I know his age. Michael Franzese is 21.
Some great content coming up, and I know you're all going to enjoy it. So today I'm kind of taking the day off. My family's captured me for the day. We're going to have a nice day. They have big plans for me. I don't know what they are yet, but we're going to enjoy it, I'm sure. So today we're going to show you a clip of a sit-down I had with the Diary of a CEO. Great influencer. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And then the rest of the week we'll be back giving you great content in a brand new studio that we're going to show you in its entirety shortly. So enjoy the day, enjoy the clip coming up, and let me remind you, a very, very special birthday gift from me to you, the Made Man collection. The prices are never going to be better than this. I'm giving it to you all for my birthday. We've had a surge over the weekend for the Memorial Day discounts that we gave. And
I gotta say, he really looks good for his age. He really does. God has blessed him.
And as you can see, it's my thing. You want to be a made man, guys? This is what you got to wear. So that's it. So enjoy the day, and we'll be back to you soon. Stay tuned, everyone. My dad was involved in 35 murders. No, he never admitted that to me
Jesus.
about anyone in particular. He was indicted for one murder and he was acquitted in that case, found not guilty. But my dad he was a tough guy. There's no question. So
If he was involved in 35 murders, as the FBI suggest, do you think he was better off behind bars? Society that they framed him.
well, Steve, let me I know this is going to be a tough one, but let me tell you how I think. The right and just side of me, the legally just side of me, says that the government is never allowed to break the law to uphold the law, because if you allow that to happen, then it falls into monarchy and people are not protected. Because if they do it against Sonny Franzese, they can do it against anybody. So I believe strictly the government has enough tools and weapons to get people the right way. And they do 96, 97% of the time. They shouldn't be allowed to violate the law to go after a criminal. That's my feeling on it. Now,
I gotta admit, that however, back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and I mean, and before that, it was really difficult to catch these guys. It was difficult to catch them in the crimes that they were committing, because I guess how secretive they were able to break the law and get away with it because they were so secretive. Nobody knew anything about them. And so this is where you had to have informants, undercover agents. You guys have heard the story of Donnie Brasco, aka Joe Pistone. You At the time, I believe that the government had to do it in order to crack down on what was going on. Now, I know that sounds controversial, and I know not everyone's going to agree with that. I understand, because I also agree with Michael here that if they did it to Sonny Franzese the way that they did it, they can do it to anyone. So I understand it's a bit of a mix, something that can be discussed. I don't know if there's like a yes or a no answer. I think it's somewhere in the middle. It depends on the circumstances, and that's room for discussion.
another thing is this. People think when we take an oath, the oath of omerta, it's an oath to stay silent. It's not an oath to lie, steal, cheat, and kill. Does that happen as part of that light? Yes. But we're told straight out. Now, try to understand the thinking here. You come into that life, you're told straight out. We have rules. You don't ever violate another man's wife, daughter, sister, girl, never. That'll cause you to die. During my era, we weren't allowed to deal with drugs. You deal with drugs, you get caught, you die. You maybe do some other things. You're not honest with people. You disrespect somebody. You hit another made guy, you die. Now, we understand that. And they tell you, your best friend may be the one that pulls the trigger, because the life comes before anything.
And he is telling the truth. And in a worldly standpoint, I'm not talking spiritual, because for those of you who don't know, I am a Christian and I do uphold Christian values, and I praise God for the ability to study His Word and draw closer to Him. I just want to make that very clear. Aside from that perspective, from a worldly perspective, from a secularized perspective, secularized meaning non-spiritual, I could see how that would keep people in line. Those rules. Basically, you break these rules, you die. There's no second chances here. I could understand how that could keep men and women, young, old, whoever, in line. Because I'm going to say this, you only live once. This isn't like GTA where you get wasted and then you just respawn in the hospital. You get whacked and that's it. There's no coming back. So most people who have a brain and use it would not want to take that chance or that risk. Were there some that did, that they didn't care, that they were nuts? Absolutely. Absolutely. But most of them stayed in line because they didn't want to die. They didn't want to take that risk of that happening. Uh, and so, yeah, I understand what he's saying. And there are some things that Michael Franzese is mentioning here that are, aside from the dying part, that are good morals, like, don't mess around with another man's wife, sister, daughter, whomever. Uh, you know, there are good morals to that, aside from the if you do that you die. Uh, and there are other, like, you never hit another made guy. If you do that you die. Again, excluding the dying part, like, you know there shouldn't be a reason for you to hit somebody, unless you're operating under self-defense. If you're operating under self-defense, then fine. You have to do what you have to do to defend yourself reasonably. But the moral of you shouldn't hit another man, I understand that part from a secular perspective. Like, there are some good morals to it, but unfortunately, then things get twisted and go to an extreme, and that's where we get a lot of problems.
That's it. You don't violate the rules. That's how we maintain control in this life. That's how we existed for 100 years, and that's how it's going to stay. So now you're saying, okay, we all agreed to this. We all admitted it. If one of us decides to violate the policy of the law and we get caught, well, we understand the consequences.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I looked at it, and that's how I justified it. Now, does that say you can go out and start to do random killings? No. If the boss tells you to go kill somebody because he doesn't like him and you do it, that's not right. But if we kill our own, and you hear a lot of times, well, we only kill our own. Well, we don't only kill our own. But if we only kill our own, knowing that we made that choice, well then, okay, I kind of get it in a way. Even though murder is murder and it's a crime and it's sinful, and I understand that. But that's how you justify
And I agree with that part.
it.
So let me put it to you this way, guys. From alleged sources that I have known over the years, people who used to be a part of the life, not this particular life, Cosa Nostra, the mafia, but used to be part of the life, meaning of crime, even outside of the mafia, they'll tell you that, again, unless you're just a complete nut job, they don't want to kill anybody. Killing is a last resort in their mindset, in their life, and the way they do things. Killing is a last resort because killing is expensive. And it not only does it cost money for the equipment that you need, but if you need to bribe cops, judges, lawyers, it can be really expensive to uphold. And then a cleanup crew, if it's needed, you got to pay the guys involved. It's not that simple as the movies make it out to be. And so it was made very clear to me that it wasn't the first thing on everyone's mind. It wasn't the first thing that they would think about. They always tried to resolve things peacefully, in their own definition of peacefully. And if they had to use violence, they were still really careful about it, or they tried to be. And if it was absolutely necessary, then they would take things further. Now, am I saying that murder is okay? Absolutely not. I'm not saying murder is okay at all. I'm just explaining and giving you guys context into that world, at least from the limited amount of knowledge that I do know. And I do know a lot, but it's still very limited.
But it wasn't the case that you only killed your own.
Well, for some of us it was, and for others it was not. And I've seen both sides of that.
You've never talked about having to kill someone, have you?
No,
Why is that?
it's just not a subject I care to get into. You know, listen. I like to be as honest as I possibly can because I am a Christian, and you don't want to lie to people. But it's not something I want to talk about.
I was wondering because
I'm pretty sure that he feels, even though he knows that he's now under the blood of Jesus Christ and forgiven, I'm pretty sure that he feels remorse and maybe regret and sorrow for the things that he did do. I'm sure that it has troubled him in certain ways, and he has to live with that. He has to live with that for the rest of his life, and he has to give an account to the Lord for that. Now, I thank God for forgiveness, but it is still something that you live with, and he is living with it. So, you know, and one of the reasons I think that he still doesn't really talk about it, aside from how it affects him, you got to keep in mind, guys, there's probably still people that have an eye on him that would look for an opportunity to kill him or to frame him or get him in legal trouble, whatever it may be. There's probably still people watching him. And so he has to be careful. I get it. In that way, I understand. Is one of those things that's just very unfortunate.
when I read that, I thought maybe it's because, there's might be legal retribution. Maybe it's because, it's not nice for people to hear about. Maybe it's because there's still some kind of like rule where you can't say anything. But I wondered why. Maybe it's all of the above. I don't know.
Well, Steve, look, there's a lot of guys on the street now. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see a number of them. And they've admitted to murders that they were involved in. These are made guys. And they've admitted to it. And many of them had struck a deal with the government. They had immunity for the crimes they committed, even murder. I mean, the government give you immunity for murder if you want to, if they want you to cooperate and help them out. It's amazing, but they'll do it. And so they have immunity. They could talk about their crimes. I didn't cooperate to that level at all. I don't have immunity for anything that I've done in the past, And listen, our laws here in the United States, if you were standing next to somebody when they murdered somebody else, you're there, you could be charged for murder the same way to them. So, I'm not saying I ever was in that position. I'm just saying that's the law. So, why talk about it? Number one. And number two, murder is ugly. It's ugly.
It is.
And
it's
you don't ever want
ugly.
to talk
He's
about
right.
it. I mean, I don't.
Very right.
If I were to do something like that, I wouldn't be proud of it. I'm
Absolutely.
not trying to throw my chest out and say, hey, look what I could do. Guys go to war. They kill people all the time, in defense of our country or defensive. So, I mean, it's not like, oh, God, nobody. I mean, murder happens every single day. Yeah, who wants to talk about it?
Some people do.
I know, not me.
Yeah.
You got.
And honestly, I respect that. And some people have what it takes to sit and talk with somebody about what they went through and what they did and whatnot, but some people can't. So for some people, it's just too much. The weight of that can be unbearable. And so, yeah, I'm just glad that Michael Franzese got out of that life.
Closer to the mafia when your father was sent down, and this was the point where you decided not to go to school. The boss of the Colombo family
Yes.
brings you under his wing. Do you have to do some kind of training or something to join the mafia? Is there any? Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you come into, here's what happened. I leave there. A captain in the family picked me up and took me to see the boss. Now, unfortunately, Joe Colombo was assassinated. He was shot, seriously wounded. He lingered for about 7 years, and then he died as a result of these wounds. So a new boss took over, and he's passed away now. And I sat with him. This was about 2 weeks after my father sent word downtown that he was proposing me to be part of that life. You can't just go up to somebody and say, hey, I'd like to join. Somebody has to propose you, vouch for you, say you have what it takes. There's a lot of nepotism in that life. A lot of fathers brought their sons in, their nephews.
It's very similar to any secret society that you hear about. You can't just go up to their door and say that you want to join. You have to be recommended by someone who's already in it. So,
Whatever. So in my case, it was my dad that proposed me. And so I sat with the boss, and he said to me, here's the deal. You want to become a member of our life. Your father sent a message. Is that true? And I said, yes. He said, well, here's the deal. From now on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're on call to serve this family, the Colombo family. That means if your mother is sick and she's dying, you're at her bedside, we call you to service, you leave your mother, you come and serve us. From now on, we're number one in your life before anything and everything. When and if we feel you've deserved this privilege, this honor to become a member, we'll let you know. That's it. And do you accept that? And I said, yes, I do. And so for the next 2.5 years, I was in like a recruit pledge period where I had to do anything and everything I was told to do.
basically on a probationary period when it comes to a job, where they see how you work, I guess, and they see if you're consistent. And believe me, they take punctuality extremely seriously.
Prove myself worthy. Could have been something very menial, a lot of discipline in that life, a lot of authority, a lot of alleged respect. You had a meeting at 8 o'clock, you weren't there at 7:30, you were late. Could
There you
never
go.
be late in that
There you
life.
go.
I don't care what the situation is. You had a meeting at 8 o'clock. If there was traffic and you were concerned, come the night before and sleep in the car. Can never be late. No excuses. Drive the boss to a meeting, sit in the car 3, 4, 5 hours. God forbid you leave. You go to the restroom, get a newspaper. He comes out, you're not there. Oh my gosh, we could have had trouble. You were the getaway driver. You weren't there. I know I did that once and I paid the price, for it. That's very serious stuff.
You paid the price.
Well, paid the price. In other words, I got a real good tongue lashing. I'll tell you, just stuff like that. They kind of put you on the shelf for 2 weeks, to make you understand the seriousness of what you did. So you never do it again. You never repeat your mistakes in that life. If you're smart, if you want to, number one, want to survive. And number two, you want to move up. You never repeat your mistakes. So, things like that. And then look, I'm going to be honest with you, as honest as I possibly can. It's a violent life at times. If you're part of the life in some shape or form, you're part of the violence. Yeah. And if anybody tells you differently, they're either not being honest or they weren't a made member of that life. And that's just how it goes.
And then you said it's a violent life. Are you saying that in that sort of probationary 2 years, you had to do both of those things? You had to be involved in the violence and do the menial stuff?
Let's put it this way. They got to have enough faith in you that you can be capable of doing whatever it is they tell you to do. They have to understand that and feel that, because if they don't feel that, you're not going anywhere. That's it. So during that time, you're going to be tested.
And you were tested?
Yeah.
When they made you pledge that if your mother was dying and you were at her bedside and they called you and asked you to do that, is crazy, man. Honestly, like to any person from the outside looking in, they would say that's insane. And it is what the expected loyalty that they have of you if you want to join that. That's wow.
Do something, you'd leave. Would you have left if your mother was dying?
Back then, I might have. I was a play by the rule guy. I was very fortunate in that I had a great teacher in my dad. He was a student and master of the life. And I was like a sponge. I absorbed whatever my dad told me. I listened. And, some of the things that he told me were right. So I might have at the time. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. It would have to depend on what's happening at that moment. But, you know, I was so indoctrinated into that life at some point. It's who I was.
Sounds a bit like a cult.
Yeah, it's cult-like, I guess, you know, in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't do silly things, you know. I mean, we wouldn't have rituals and ceremonies other than that
Sounds
that
like the
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
like-
that one, nothing
Other than the initiation that they do, but other than
after
that,
that.
yeah.
But
What did it teach you about people skills? Because you're around these bosses, these very talented men. You're seeing how they conduct themselves, do business, influence people, win friends. What did that phase of your life teach you about how to be a motivator / manipulator of people?
yeah, it taught me well. I think I got it. You know, there's kind of two levels in that life. You're either a racketeer or you're a gangster.
What's the difference?
I'll tell you the difference. A gangster is a guy that really doesn't know how to use that life to benefit him in business. So he's more of a, I don't want to say tough guy, I don't want to say the term, but he's more of a guy that, hey, we had something done. This is the guy. Send him out, let him do it. Because you got to earn your keep in that life. We in the Colombo family had 115 made guys at that time. Out of the 115, 20 of us were really earning money and supporting the family in some way and really elevating the family. We were racketeers.
And by earning money, he means earning money, a lot of money.
Now, a gangster could never really be a racketeer. He just doesn't know how. But a racketeer has to be a gangster also because you're going to be called upon. Not as much as this guy, but when you're called upon, you got to do it. So, you know, I was more of a racketeer. And as a result of that, I was constantly in business disputes and sitting down with other guys. And you have to learn, you know, how to negotiate. I mean, I learned the art of negotiation at these sit downs, you know, learned how to try to, you know, really before I walk into a meeting with somebody, number one, try to know the personality of that person, know if there's a fallback position, if I'm not winning, what I'll accept. And so I had to prepare myself for these meetings because unprepared, you know, they'll chew you up. Because a lot of these old timers were very skillful.
Oh, yeah.
And believe me, you could be 100%.
They had to live it out. So they just had to experience it. So that's how they got their skill.
Right and end up wrong. And they'll put you in a trap. So you really had to know what you were doing. And so my people skills in that regard, as far as negotiating and identifying a true leader, were really honed to a high degree because I came out on top many, many times. My friends, if you enjoyed this video.
And that's it for that video. I didn't want it to be, and then that was a short video of his. He has other videos that are like a half hour, 45 minutes. And I'm like, I didn't want to do a super long video today, but so that's the video there. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you guys would like to see more of these, me reacting to mafia stuff, then let me know in the comments and let me know if you liked the video. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it and have a wonderful night. And I will see you guys next time.